Welcome back to Jacobism, lovely people. In today's video, we're going to talk about everything motorbikes, the good, the bad and the ugly. Not so long ago, I had two Honda PCX 125s and racked up a considerable mileage on them. And for all you haters, yes, I know they're not real motorbikes, but they have two wheels and a combustion engine, so fuck off. Nevertheless, I had a whirlwind of incidents on those bikes, and it is a fucking miracle that I didn't hurt or kill anyone, never mind myself. My mum even wrote in her will that I was to be prohibited from ever owning a motorbike. Despite defying this advice, I can see why she said that. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of motorbikes, things that you never considered, and the ultimate decision that you have to make if you want to ride one of these things. Let's do this, people. Now in this first point, I'm going to share with you all the great things about riding a motorbike. Number one is that they are incredibly thrilling. You are effectively riding a mechanical horse that, whilst you're not strapped in or down to anything, it can do 65 miles per hour, granted it's a 125cc. In the summertime when it's hot, the tyres are very sticky and you have incredible confidence when hitting turns at speed whilst really leaning into them. When you get that knee almost scraping the ground, it feels like you're in moto racing. People would ask me what it's like, and I could only describe it as feeling like I'm on holiday all the time. It's just so freeing and exhilarating all at the same time. Number two, they are bewilderingly cheap. If you're going for your license and it's a 125cc, all you need is something called a CBT, which costs about 100 quid. You spend 8 hours learning theory, and then you do a quick practical, and voila, you can now ride a 125cc for up to 2 years. And unless you have the dexterity of an overweight 14-year-old autistic boy or the physical capabilities of Stephen Hawking, it's very hard to fail. Also, motorbikes are, if for example you're going for a Kawasaki Ninja, cheap performance. A Ninja costs about $3,000 and can go 209 miles per hour and will get to that speed quick. In terms of insurance, whilst it is age, gender and geography dependent, is relatively inexpensive because the vehicles are cheap and small and it's harder to write off other vehicles. In regard to economy and maintenance, again, very cheap. I think I got about 120 miles per gallon, and to put that into perspective, my E46, which is a car, gets about 22 miles per gallon. Maintenance is ludicrous. I would spend about 50 quid every service and change the brake pads every other service. It was ludicrously cheap. Number three, they are amazingly efficient in a city. As you might have gathered already, I am Jewish and have a love for all things efficient. I probably shouldn't say this, but for those of you who know North London, I once went from Barnet to Marylebone in about just under 18 minutes. To put that into perspective, in a car, that journey should take you at least 45 minutes. And so you can swerve traffic, you can filter down the middle, you can go on footpaths when no one's looking, you can run reds because you've only got a rear plate, I didn't say that, and you can hit corners at crazy speeds that would even put a smile on Guy Martin's face. You can also park where you please. If not in between the small gaps of cars, you can park on the pavement, but perhaps just keep an eye on it. And so in summary, motorbikes are fun, fast and fucking cheap, but they do come at a cost. Now in this second point, I'm going to share with you all the downsides and risks to riding a motorbike. They are all effectively in regard to safety. Number one, what you gain in thrill, you lose in safety. It is no secret that motorbikes are dangerous, but just how dangerous? Motorbike riders account for about 1% of road traffic users, but 20% of road traffic deaths. Not great odds. Besides suicide, war and unintentional deaths such as drug overdoses, road traffic deaths, and specifically motorbike riders, make the top 5 biggest killers of men under the age of 25 in the UK. It's not looking good, lads. In my 14 months of riding a motorbike, I came off at least 25 times, and only 2 of those I can be sure were other people's fault. Whilst the statistics make no mince of the reality, I do believe it to be a bit more nuanced. I often say there are boys who can be trusted and there are boys who cannot be. Some boys are just a bit more cautious and responsible, and some are just menaces to society. I'll let you guess which one I am. And also, don't mention this analogy just before the practical element of your CBT, because you run the risk of being immediately failed. I know this from a friend. Since the power to weight ratio of these things are so high, the acceleration is wicked and you can find yourself well over the speed limit very quickly. On a more personal note, for the following 18 months after selling my bike, I would lie in bed, often struggling to get to sleep, with what I could only describe as PTSD, as I would mentally relive my accidents and would jerk and wince at the moments of impact. Number 2, though similar to a decrease in safety, you are more vulnerable. Whether it involves another car or not, if you come off, since you are not strapped down to anything, you are more likely to suffer a more serious injury in the event that you are ejected over a car or land spread-eagled on the floor trying to create a snow angel in gravel. In a car, you have seat belts, reinforced pillars, crumple zones, etc. On a bike, the minimum legal requirement is a helmet. And another note, guys, if you drop it, it is done for. Otherwise, your skull will take all the impact. The choice is yours. Now, even though I'm discussing the downsides in this point, vulnerability is a double-edged sword. Despite being more at risk of having a more serious injury, in the event that you have an accident with another car, if you come off, you are more easily able to make a legitimate injury claim. I stress legitimate because Jacobism does not promote insurance fraud. Number 3, if it rains, and it doesn't matter if you've got waterproof overalls, you will get soaked to a level that puts Tidal Wave at Thorpe Park to shame. I had some pretty decent overalls, but they would last all of about 20 minutes until my testicles were sitting in a pool of rainwater. Motorbikes are really fun and enjoyable until it rains, in which you will be cold, wet and miserable and have to ride sensibly. In summary, motorbikes are dangerous, you are extremely vulnerable to incurring a more serious injury, and unless you like soggy genitalia, you will get absolutely drenched. Now in this third point, I'm going to share with you some things that you need to know/consider before becoming a rider. Number 1, learn how to crash. This is the most important thing. Motorbikes are a numbers game, and you can be as careful as you like and avoid bad weather and etc., but there will always be some idiot who doesn't look, or some patch of wet leaves, or an occasion where you need to suddenly brake when going too fast that will cause you to come off. Knowing how to crash will ensure the best likelihood that you won't seriously hurt yourself when you do come off. The very first time I came off was actually the worst injury I suffered in all the accidents that I had thereafter. I fell with the bike and all my weight went straight into my hip, which met the ground first, and I was hobbling about for a week after. Of all the nonsense I talk, I urge you to heed this advice. Number 2, do not take unnecessary risks. In certain circumstances, when it's hot and quiet, it's okay to pop a wheelie. However, if you're filtering down some traffic through the middle and there's a car that's stopped to turn across you but is waiting for oncoming traffic to pass, do not pass even if you are certain they have seen you. If you see a car at an intersection and they are looking to pull out and will cross your lane to do so, but are only looking in the other direction and you are not certain that they have seen you, flash them and hold your horn until they have. Most motorbike accidents occur at intersections, and on numerous occasions I have almost been wiped out from negligent and careless drivers. Number 3, the physicists might be able to answer this, but a motorbike speed can be quite hard to gauge from a distance. I don't know if this is to do with the low mass, the lack of a noise, or the size being small relative to cars, but from a distance it can be hard to gauge the speed of a motorbike. I noticed this once when I was in my high street. I heard a car from about 500 meters away roaring up the street, and I could tell it was going fast, but only until it passed me did I realise it was probably doing about 70 miles per hour. Not long after, I noticed a motorbike but perhaps was not taken aback by its speed, but only until it passed did I realise that it was actually likely going as fast as a car, if not faster. I noticed this further when I was speeding about and cars looking to pull out would be ready to go, but until I got nearer to them they became hesitant as they had previously misjudged how fast I was going. And so in summary, learn how to crash, do not take unnecessary risks, and be Ensure that other road users are aware of your presence and your speed. If you get in an accident, they'll probably be fine, but you, on the other hand, probably won't be. And now it is time to end, lovely people. I hope this video has shown you the good, the bad, and the ugly of riding motorbikes. They are incredibly exhilarating, but also bloody dangerous. The ultimate question you must ask yourself is, does the benefits of exhilarating fun, Jewish economy, and ludicrous convenience outweigh the risks of total vulnerability, lack of safety, and feats of enduring being a wet rat? Me personally, I would now only have a bike for quiet Sundays in the summer. And so, thank you all for watching. I wish you the best on your journeys, especially those on a motorbike. And if you want bragging rights for being an OG subscriber, you know what to do.